This video goes through systems thinking and how to think about variables in a different way. The material is taken from a book by Donella Meadows, a very famous systems thinker, and the book is also equally very famous. It's called Thinking in Systems, which was published in 2015 by Chelsea Green Publishing. The material concerned are taken from pages 175 to 177. So Meadows, or Donella Meadows, have talked about how to think about variables in a model in a totally different way when you are using systems thinking as an analysis or a way of thinking lens. So she included some guidelines on how to live in a world of systems which are relevant to those of you who are doing analysis, perhaps using systems thinking. So I've put in here a quote which is very useful to think about. Pay attention to what is important, not just what is quantifiable when it comes to variables. So if you are doing a model, if you are analyzing data, and you are analyzing, say, variables or factors, how do you think about variables? So Meadows' advice is pay attention to what is important and not just what is quantifiable. So why is that? And what does she mean by pay attention to what is important? So putting variables like prejudice, like self-esteem, like quality of life into models is considered okay. So think about things like these variables that you have, that you could see here on the slide. And also, she says that faulty models can occur if we pretend that something does not exist, just because it is hard to quantify. Measuring something because it's easy can lead to systems traps. Her advice is, don't fall into this trap. Measure something if it is considered important. So there are really no excuses for you to eliminate variables that are hard or considered by you hard to quantify. Another important point is really be a quality detector when it comes to variables, when it comes to factors. And what does that mean? Register the presence or absence of quality. So, for example, in my PhD, I was looking for different factors that participants were talking about. So instead of just, for example, considering a variable that is measurable or quantifiable, like say noise, or air quality, I would also and I started looking into the data and I started detecting there are some parts or some factors that participants mentioned, which could be or could reflect a quality issue. So, for example, I coded for certain factors that started with the word quality of. So, for example, one of the variables or factors that I've considered in my, say, model, if you like, or a data analysis was quality of infrastructure, and so on. So be a detector of a quality detector and not just a quantity detector, just because it's easy. Meadows also say that if things are ugly, tacky, inappropriate, out of proportion, unsustainable, morally degrading, ecologically impoverishing, or humanely demeaning, then say so and don't let these pass. So also consider these as your variables. And Meadows' really advice is really don't be like those people who go with the saying that if I can't define it and measure it, I don't have to pay attention to it. So this is a very important way of summarizing the points that I just said on the previous slide. Think about that. Think about that quote on this slide for a second. It's really important. Why is this important? Because no one can define or measure justice, things like justice, freedom, truth, democracy, love, and so on. We can't define or measure value, but we can speak up for them or for these values or morals or ethics if systems are not capable of producing them. Why is that important again? This is because if we don't speak about these values or their absence or presence, then they cease to exist. So I'll leave you with that last bit of information to sit with you for a second. And hopefully this video made you think about variables and factors and how you assess them, how you analyze, how you consider them within your models or your data analysis in your research in a totally different way.